So welcome to the finest marine facility on the West Coast. The Gulf Coast and the East Coast. There are no ships out there, but I can guarantee you about October, November, they will start showing up. There will be anywhere from 1 to 4 to possibly 6. So you will see ships dock at that pier. One of the reasons they're not here is because they're doing what they should be doing. They're out working. They're out collecting vital data to protect this nation and to understand the mysteries of the ocean. I could spend a lot of time thanking a number of folks. Don did a great job of identifying many of those folks. I tried yesterday at the change of command to identify certain folks that were key, but the list would go on, and I would spend my entire time up here reading that list, and I think Don would probably put a hook in me and get me off anyway. So to think 2 years ago, we were standing on salmon ponds, and there was a dilapidated pier out there. That's all that was here. Don came to my office and he showed me a picture of the future site of Mach-P, and I think Joanne put it aptly. He was smoking something very strange that I wanted nothing to do with, because the concept was not there for me, but certainly had it. But like so many great stories, it's not about the money, it's not about the brick and mortar, it's about the human spirit. Whether that spirit is driven by necessity, a desire to change or to make something better, or economic gravity itself, that has resulted in this new state-of-the-art marine facility. So 2 years ago, when NOAA awarded the contract to Newport, many people stood up and took notice. Go figure. Who thought? But that was the beginning of the hard work. And some of the folks here and some of you out there know that there was hard work locally here. There was hard work that needed to be done in Seattle, and certainly back in Washington, whether it was downtown in the Commerce Building or up on the Hill. Many times it was like we were running a marathon. At first there were water stations every mile. And then about halfway through, those water stations were disappearing. But somehow we dragged it across the finish line and we got there. But during that process, I realized very quickly that there was something special here in NOAA. Because at the time, I had received well over 40 letters. I stopped counting it at 40. And I tried to respond to each and every one of those letters, because it was important for you to know that I heard your voice. I also had a number of conversations with Congressman Schrader to let him know that I had received such support from his folks, and also asked him what his folks were smoking and drinking out here, because I tell you, it's little NOAA relative to some of the other federal agencies, but I felt a bit like a rock star. I had not received that level of correspondence before in my tenure. However, all along in the back of my mind was whether we were going to get this project done on time. That's always a concern. It's always a concern for the folks that are executing the contract. Because it's one of those situations where you turn the switch off in Seattle and you turn the switch on in Newport. And that's the way it had to come down. So I was here in November of 2010. And this is after it just blew 80 knots and rain and horizontal, and I walked into the building and there were no windows, but there were puddles of water, and Don said, "Don't worry about that, we'll clean all this up." And not a problem, and of course this was 1 week into November, and what was supposed to occur on the 1st of November? The in-water work. So I said, "Don, what's going on here? Why isn't the in-water working?" "Well, there's some paperwork needs to be done, Admiral, and we're getting on it." And not to get into the details, it was not a local issue, it was a NOAA issue, and we needed to finish the paperwork, but we got the paperwork done shortly thereafter. I also had an opportunity to go down and visit West Coast Construction, who had their site down the river. We're putting the pilings and the cement caps together, and I had a conversation with the foreman there, and he was a giant of a man, and I asked him, I said, "We're about 6-7 days, it looks like we'll be between 10 and 14 days behind schedule. What are you going to do about that?" And he said, "Admiral, don't worry about it." He says, "If I have to bring in more barges, if I have to bring in more people, we will meet the schedule." So today, we stand here, certainly proud, truly satisfied, but somewhat relieved that this facility is done. But But perhaps most satisfying is that you, as a community, have gained the respect of those who took notice 2 years ago and didn't believe that this community could pull this off. Congratulations on a tremendous accomplishment, and we look forward to a long and fruitful relationship with the city of Newport. Thank you.